It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Hey everybody, yesterday we watched the new, not Roland Emmerich, but the guy who writes all the Roland Emmerich movies, Geostorm. So Aiden, what was the plot of Geostorm?
From the mind of Roland Emmerich comes Geostorm, a movie about Jake Gyllenhaal in New York trying to find his family while all the storms in the world come together at the same time.
Is that an actual Roland Emmerich movie?
That's The Day After Tomorrow.
I've never seen it because I thought it just sounded stupid. The original.
This is the same movie as The Day After Tomorrow. Basically, in 2019, the world goes to shit for no reason, and Gerard Butler creates a super satellite array that controls weather and makes all the storms in the world disappear so that people stop dying. And he gets fired, and then for some reason the satellites start malfunctioning, and for some other reason the satellites have not only gigantic death lasers built in, but freeze rays. And so everyone is getting fucking killed by these satellites, and there's other storms happening at the same time. And so Gerard Butler goes back to space to uncover the conspiracy of who is using these satellites to kill people and why. And it turns out that Ed Harris, that guy who looks like Peter Weller, yes, he looks just like Peter Weller, is behind it all, and he's like the Secretary of State, and his master plan is to destroy the world and in the process kill the president, who's played by the worst red herring ever, who looks like Satan. He's like a greasy Italian man. He has like gigantic rings on, and he's supposed to look evil, but he's not evil. His plan is to kill the president and the vice president and everyone else who's before him so that he can become the president and rule the entire world using his satellite super weapon thing. And it fucking sucks. So Connor. Oh, and then Gerard Butler fixes the thing, and then everyone lives happily ever after, except for all the people who got killed by the storms, but they kind of just wiped that under the rug, because... But Connor, what'd you think of Geostorm?
Geostorm was a piece of shit movie. It was not the worst movie we saw this year, but it was
The most retarded.
the most retarded. That's accurate. So somehow in the next 26 months, Gerard Butler manages to make a satellite array, a huge satellite array that goes around the entire planet and basically is able to stop any storm. So basically, one of the biggest problems with the overarching plot, is that how does he do this in 2 years? This movie's already dated, because there's no possible way you could make this in 20 years, let alone 50 years. So it would take a long fucking time, and the plot is fucking stupid, overarching as well, because not Peter Weller, his plan is to take over this satellite and cause a geostorm, which will apparently destroy the world so that he can become the president. Wouldn't it be easier and cheaper just to assassinate everyone in line before you? Like, yeah, you'd probably be suspected. I guess the Geostorm, whatever. But why wouldn't you just blow up, like, Washington, D.C. or like, you know, just the places, targets of interest, and just be like, what the fuck is going on? And play it dumb. You would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for fucking Gerard Butler and his meddling group of people. And all these people that want to destroy the planet because they're getting paid to. First off, where is this guy getting the money? Like, the president isn't able to just give people unlimited money because he's the president.
I mean,
so when he becomes the president, that makes no damn sense.
all the villains are retarded too. The hacker guy, hacker guys, they specifically say he's the only person who can program or turn up. He's the only person capable of turning on or off the self-destruct on the International Space Station. Why the fuck someone let Gerard Butler build the self-destruct in the International Space Station beyond me.
And why?
But he knows he's the only person capable of stopping the self-destruct sequence. And despite this, instead of leaving on the ship with everyone else and getting to safety, he stands around jerking his meat in front of the computer and then gets fucking killed. If I was him, I would have turned that shit on.
Gerard Butler doesn't die.
No, the
hacker?
guy.
Yeah.
If I was the hacker guy, I would have turned that shit on, been like, oh, I'm so scared, let me on the escape shuttle, got the fuck out of there, and then Gerard Butler would have been fucked. Like,
yeah.
nobody would have been able to stop it, so
I also
why was he just waiting there?
The other thing that doesn't make sense is everyone's like, oh, for weeks we haven't been able to control the Hong Kong or the or the satellite directly over Afghanistan where the police got frozen. It's like there's no alarm that's like you have got hacked, like, or like it literally says like you can't do this anymore. Like nobody on no level of the government noticed this. Like there's no alarm at all or anything. It's just like okay. So shit starts getting destroyed, and they don't even look into it when shit gets destroyed. It isn't until later when Max and the sassy black girl end up doing it.
They know that this horrible problem's going on, and they send Gerard Butler alone on a space shuttle.
Well, yeah, he's like, we're gonna need
people.
like 600. Max
like,
said specifically we need a team of like 600 people, and then Peter Weller is like, you can only send one. Or no, the president says you can only send one person.
How much of a waste of
Gerard
fucking
Butler.
money? It cost millions of dollars to send Gerard Butler to space
To
alone
save the planet,
on
yeah.
a rocket that could fit 40 people. Like, I know they're worried about confidentiality, but then he lands and he's the only person to get out of the fucking spaceship.
I get that it costs a lot of money to send him up, but I mean, how much more could comparatively speaking, yes, it's millions of dollars to send 40 people up into space, but it's probably comparatively a lot cheaper than the whole planet getting destroyed.
It's probably comparatively a lot cheaper than
Just one person, because you know
probably
the shuttle with one person alone sending up into space has to be 10 times more than just sending 40 people up.
Yeah, it's probably like
it's comparatively nothing.
sending the rocket up to space with just Gerard Butler probably costs like $300 million. It'd probably be an extra like fucking $1.5 million per person they sent up with him. Why would you only send one person? That is such a waste of fucking money.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So the plot makes no sense at all. I mean, scene for scene, if we break it down there, pretty much everything makes no sense and it's really cringy. The Secret Service lady's not supposed to be dating Max, Gerard Butler's brother, but she's just does. And there's sassy black lady who's just there to be comic relief, I guess. She's
Don't
like
forget
the Jar
that
Jar of the movie.
Telephone code thing that makes no sense, where he like
The
types his
telephone
brother's telephone number.
Yeah,
into
and then
thing
he
and
does
it makes a
a telephone code that makes a secret message that they are able to hack and like figure out in like 5 seconds. But the other thing about it too is that in the next transmission, they're no longer trying to be secretive at all. He's like, "Did you get the telephone code where it said this, this, and this?"
It's because
like,
the black girl was jamming.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I probably took a piss or something at that point, or just wasn't paying attention. But still, scene for scene, nothing makes sense, and it's really bad. The dialogue is cringy. It's all. It looks like. It sounds like it's written by a 9-year-old.
That talks like a 40-year-old.
Yeah, the 9-year-old daughter that.
She has dialogue that seems like it should be coming out of his wife's mouth because it's like, "You're never coming back to me, Gerard Butler. You're a wonderful human being, and I respect you at the highest
kissing
level."
on the lips and stuff, and he's groping her ass.
Like if a real 9-year-old had her dad going to space on a mission where he would probably die, she wouldn't be saying dramatic fucking romance novel shit to him. She'd probably be crying her fucking eyes out and laying on the ground and saying, "Don't leave me, daddy, don't leave me, daddy," you know?
Yeah.
I get that she's supposed to be some sort of epic super genius or
Also,
something.
the start seems kind of stupid where he's like, he gets fired, and then in like 5 minutes later, he's already back on the team ready to get launched into space. Like, I get that's where his conflict is, but the conflict seems to not affect him at all later, so it all just kind of comes off as pointless. And, I mean, the satellite shit's retarded. Everything about this movie is really retarded and nonsensical. It feels like a script where Roland Emmerich's like, "Yeah, I'll take this. Seems like a movie I would do." And then due to scheduling conflicts, he's like, "Okay, I'll just give it to this guy." And, like, his writer's like, "I want to do my debut movie." And he's like, "Here's this movie called Geostorm. I was going to do it, but I just didn't have enough time." And he's like, "Okay." And then he made this movie, and the trailers only showed like the shots where it's like the planet's getting destroyed,
like the last 5
and they
minutes
make it look like it's 2012 where the whole movie's about like the world's getting destroyed, but in reality it's like the last 5 minutes.
We
like,
have to stop the
seasons
Geostorm. This movie's like 90% people just staring at computers.
Yeah, I mean the trailers are like a total of 5 minutes of the movie worth of footage in there. Most of it's just them talking. And then there's scenes that are blatantly ripped off from other movies, like the first Senate scene is basically blatantly ripped off from Iron Man 2. You have a lot of scenes blatantly ripped off from like 2012. You have that stupid Roland Emmerich thing where people are able to hop in a car and just run away from a storm, like or
run away from
off
exploding gas lines.
Yeah, run away from exploding gas lines. And the girl,
when the girl
everyone's
runs
literally
the cold.
freezing instantly into like a fucking thing, but she's able to outrun the cold. Like I'm pretty sure the cold would just kind of descend on an area and the thing would start getting cold.
I mean,
like you can't physically outrun it. Like
the
2
cold,
feet behind you, people are freezing to death, but you're able to outrun
even if we
it.
pretend that the cold is like a localized beam spreading out from the beam, the cold wave would be moving probably
much faster than
miles an hour.
7 miles per hour.
Much faster than
Not to mention she's
some
a human
scrawny
being
girl in
who
a
would get
bikini
tired.
barefoot.
Yeah, I doubt it. So
It's unreasonable.
this movie's retarded. But Aiden, what did you think of Geostorm?
It's fucking terrible. Actually, I'm gonna pull up my phone for a minute because I actually wrote some thoughts down about this movie because I knew I would forget.
Sure, there's shit you comment on that I need something to say on.
Let's see. Why would someone build a self-destruct in the International Station? Not just build it in, but add it in 50 years after the thing was made. Why does a satellite system that is made to stop disasters?
Thing was made.
Why does a satellite system that is made to stop disasters have a giant laser death ray and a fucking freeze gun? Why does the evil bald man want to kill the entire world? Why is the hacker guy blowing himself up in space to get money when he's gonna die? Why does the little 11-year-old girl talk like she's 35? So I actually went over most of these already.
Yeah, the hacker guy is like, I'll get 1,000 times the same amount of money, but he's gonna die in space, and on top of that, the world's gonna be destroyed, so there's absolutely no use for the money that he potentially make. Like, you'd think this genius would be able to understand that. Plus, you could blackmail the guy. Once the senator tries to hire you, and he knows specifically who hired him, I'm pretty sure he mentions. So it's like, I would have just extorted the guy, been like, you're gonna pay me 5 times my salary, and I'll never mention it. Or you're gonna pay me 2,000 times my salary, and you're not gonna mention it. Where is the senator guy getting this money on a senator's, on a senator's paycheck that you can pay an astronaut? Engineer, 1,000, literally 1,000 times the amount he's making. Fuck if I know, but whatever. And it's not gonna be traced back to him.
The point is, even though it's not made by Roland Emmerich, it's a Roland Emmerich movie, and all Roland Emmerich movies are fucking terrible. This one's no exception. This one, it's probably a little better than 2012. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Dialogue is fucking terrible, as you would expect. The action is all put in the last 5 minutes and it's terrible. The CGI is terrible. The script is terrible. Everything about this movie is fucking terrible. There were some scenes that were they kind of walked that line of so terrible they were hilarious, but a lot of this movie is pretty fucking boring because it's like black lady sits at a computer and hacks a thing. Gerard Butler looks at a computer and says this isn't right. German girl looks at a computer and says this isn't right. Guy with the girlfriend calls his brother over a computer and says this isn't right. Cop lady, Secret Service lady calls someone. The whole movie is just like people
I can't even
standing
get
around
into Secret Service later. Her whole thing
beating each other off over computer screens. I honestly did believe they made the president a fairly good red herring because they made it so fucking retarded and obvious. I thought this movie would be a Roland Emmerich movie and that the president would be evil because they made him look like fucking Satan.
He was practically twirling his mustache.
But at the same time, Ed Harris was also a very obvious contender because they tried to make him seem too nice, and then he was like bald and creepy and old, which is usually a sign that you're an evil person in these kind of movies.
And he's like, I trust you so much. And he had kind of an Emperor Palpatine vibe to him.
But yeah, long story short, Geostorm is borderline unwatchable and retarded. Connor, would you recommend the fucking Geostorm?
I couldn't recommend the Geostorm. It's fucking terrible. It's a horrible movie. It's the most retarded movie I've seen all year. Could you make fun of this movie? Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're watching it with friends and just kind of like making fun of it and laughing your ass off, it's worth watching. I wouldn't pay to see it in the theater because I don't want its box office to go over to the point where it makes money. But
This thing will be airing on Sci-Fi every weekend.
yeah,
for the
it
next
should have been a
15 years.
sci-fi original movie. Then I could have probably given it a pass because even the CGI, even though it's somehow a spectacularly high budget, looks like absolute dog shit. So
Some kind of
it was absolute dog shit. I wouldn't watch this movie. No, I wouldn't. So Aiden, what would you do? You recommend this movie?
No.